first thing is very important that you should have the revision notes. First of all, as I told you that I have designed everything in this particular course by keeping in mind your requirements. जो क्वेश्चंस आज से कुछ साल पहले तक आ रहे थे, धीरे धीरे उनकी रेलेवेंस थोड़ी कम हो रही है. Now what is this one page one thing? That's like one of the core part of this particular program. Why am I keeping those classes? Because interactive learning is very important. I would like to show you some notes, like the kind of notes are what I'm going to provide you in this particular session. So अगर आप ये सब चीज़ें देखते हैं या इसको रिवाइज करके जाते हैं, तो मेरे हिसाब से आपके लिए आंसर प्रोड्यूस करना is going to be very easy for you. Hello all, this is Piyush and welcome you to Momentum IAS. So now finally the D-Day is over. That means the prelims 2024 is done. और जैसा कि होता है कि प्रीलिम्स के बाद एक बड़ी वेगनेस से सिचुएशन होती है कि इस बार कट ऑफ क्या होगा. मार्केट में बहुत सारे अजम्पशंस हैं, बहुत सारे एक्सपेक्टेशंस हैं और लोग अलग अलग तरीके के कट ऑफ्स की बात कर रहे हैं. कुछ इंस्टीट्यूट्स हैं या कुछ स्पेशलाइज्ड लोग हैं, वो लोग कह रहे हैं कि कट ऑफ जो है वो 100 से ऊपर चली जाएगी. वहीं पे कुछ लोग कह रहे हैं कि कट ऑफ जो है लेकिन पिछली बार से हो सकता है थोड़ी स्लाइट इंक्रीज हो, बट ऐसा भी नहीं हो कि देयर वुड बी ए मेजर जंप एंड इट्स गोइंग टू क्रॉस 100. द पॉसिबिलिटी इज लेस. What I believe that there might be some minor increase in the cutoff. Maybe last time it was 75. This time it may be 85. Max to max it could be 85. Because what I have noticed that in past few years, specifically in past 5-6 years, there is always there is a sort of declining trend in the cutoff. Right? It's gradually getting down. And this is the reason because of what I believe कि अगर कट ऑफ ऊपर जाता भी है तो 85 के ऊपर नहीं जाना चाहिए कट ऑफ. राइट, दो आई ऑफ कोर्स देयर इज ग्रेट अनसर्टेनिटी रिगार्डिंग दिस, बट बीइंग ए पेरेंट how should you think, that's very important. Now if you are waiting for 21 days for the result to come and then only if you want to start your preparation for the mains examination, I believe that would be too late. इस बार ऐसे ही आपने देखा है कि ड्यूरेशन जो है वो बहुत कम है क्योंकि प्री 1 महीने के लिए एक्सटेंड कर दिया गया और जिसकी वजह से वो ड्यूरेशन थोड़ा कम हो गया और ये वजह है जिसकी वजह से आप अपना टाइम वेस्ट नहीं कर सकते हैं एंड यू हैव टू गेट इनटू दैट मींस प्रिपरेशन एज सून एज पॉसिबल. सो व्हाट आई एम एक्चुअली सजेस्टिंग टू द स्टूडेंट्स दैट टेक ए ब्रेक ऑफ 2-3 days and get into the preparation if you are even in a dicey situation whether I'm going to clear it or not. If somebody is crossing 90, I think in that case he or she is definitely safe. But if you are close to 85, even though I think without wasting your time you should get into the preparation. That would be my suggestion. Now the most important point when it comes to the preparation, now how to do it. Of course you all must be having your own strategies which is based upon your preparation of the mains examination. There are some, they believe that they are all together ready for the mains examination. On the other hand, there might be some people they are not fully ready, so they yet believe that they have to do certain chunks, certain areas in both essay, both optional and GS part. And if you are feeling like that, in that case of course you have to start your preparation in order to fill those gaps, the gaps what you have been realizing for yourself, right? Now the point because of what I have been doing this particular video or lecture is very simple, that I would like to talk you something, I would like to talk something about the optional paper, and that too precisely for the history optional paper. Now if you have history optional, so you first have to first realize that optional does play a very important role in your selection, because if you are crossing 270 to 80 in the optional, in that case your chances are very fair not only to clear this exam but also to secure a good rank. But if you're leaving it as it is, in that case this is going to be a real challenge, that whether you are scoring this much or not, and that's why you should start your preparation from this point only, and without thinking of the pre-prelims result. I think you should get into the preparation, because this preparation of the optional is never going to never going to be wasted, because of course it can be utilized maybe this year or maybe next year also. So that's the reason you should get into this, right? Point is this, when it comes to history optional, you must have realized one thing, ki at one hand the people are not able to score very good, on the other hand there are some people that are able to score very good. Now what is this definition of good and bad? If you are crossing 300 or if you are close to 300, in that case it must be considered as a good marks. And if you are close to 200, let's say 200, 220, even 230 also, that cannot be considered as a very good marks. आपके 230 भी अगर है तो you can expect of getting the final selection. But if it is around 270, 280, in that case, I have already told you that what is the beauty of this score, and that's why you should give all these efforts in order to reach as closer as possible for you to 300. And this is the reason because of what I have been planning this history optional advanced course. Now, why advanced course? Because I have realized that people are facing problems in history optional. What sort of problems they have been facing? Because the expectation of UPSC is gradually changing, and last 3-4 years what I have realized that now they have been expecting a very different kind of content in the history optional, and that's why people are not able to score very good. Precisely in paper 2, as you can see that even in the last UPSC also, people were not able to secure very good marks in paper 2, whether people were bit comfortable in paper 1. So I won't say that 150 is a good marks, possible 160, 165 is also very much possible in paper 1, but yet if you are getting around 145, 150, that's considered to be a decent mark. But paper 2 में बहुत हमने frequently देखा है कि there are some people they believe कि they had good preparation, but even though they got 100, 112, 98, these kind of marks are very frequent, and in fact I can see these marks even of those students they have earlier scored very good. And why is how is this? Because that's a very simple reason that the expectation in UPSC is changing, and that's the reason because of what now they are not able to score very good in paper 2. Probably in order to address these kind of questions, right, I have come up with this particular course which is known as the history optional advanced course, right, which is going to start from 22nd of June. And what are the features we will discuss one by one of this particular course. But before that I would like to discuss something कि at this particular juncture what are the expectations that you have to fulfill, or what is what exactly or how exactly you should get into this preparation for the mains examination, mains 2024, right? Okay, so when it comes to this, I would like to talk about few important things that you should keep in mind at that point of time. So what are the requirements? Let's talk about the requirements. What are the requirements that you do have? Okay, the first thing is very important that you should have the revision notes. आपके पास एक कंटेंट है, बट सवाल यह है कि उस कंटेंट क्या आपने इतना कंसाइज कर रखा है उस कंटेंट को कि आप बहुत आसानी से उसको रिवाइज कर लें. अब इसमें से कुछ लोग ऐसे होंगे जिन्होंने अपने कंटेंट को बिल्कुल ऐसे कंसाइज कर रखा है, जिनके लिए रिवीजन इतना मुश्किल नहीं होगा. और अगर आपके पास वो नोट्स है तो आप थोड़े कंफर्टेबल सिचुएशन में हैं. अगर आपके पास वो नोट्स नहीं है तो इसका मतलब है कि आपके लिए आने वाला टाइम थोड़ा चैलेंजिंग होगा, क्योंकि हिस्ट्री के नोट्स को प्रिसाइज कर पाना इट्स गोइंग टू बी लिटिल टफ. And that's the reason because of what this is one very important requirement that you do have at that particular point of time. But then apart from this, there is something which is also very important to know, and that is about the new areas and the dimensions what are being asked in the questions. I think very frequently you have been facing certain bouncers. अब जैसे लास्ट ईयर एक क्वेश्चन था मॉडर्न इंडिया में, उन्होंने साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी के डेवलपमेंट के बारे में पूछा. अब ये एक ऐसा एरिया है जो शायद अब जीएस के लिए तो थोड़ा बहुत पढ़ रहे हैं, या कॉलोनियल पीरियड में अगर उसने साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी के डेवलपमेंट के बारे में पूछा तो आप इसको जीएस के एरिया में पढ़ रहे हैं और उनके हेल्प से थोड़ा आंसर लिखा भी जा सकता है, बट ऑफकोर्स दैट वोंट बी ए वेरी स्पेशलाइज्ड आंसर इन द ऑप्शनल. So there are certain such bouncers are coming, and this is called as the new dimensions, right? The new dimensions, and that is the questions are being asked on the new dimensions from all the areas, in ancient, in medieval, in modern and world. चारों ही एरिया में ऐसे नए डायमेंशंस पे क्वेश्चंस पूछ रहे हैं. और अनफॉर्चुनेटली अगर आपने बहुत ट्रेडिशनल तरीके से ऑप्शनल हिस्ट्री ऑप्शनल को प्रिपेयर किया है तो इन न्यू डायमेंशंस पे इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं है, और आपको ये न्यू डायमेंशंस प्रिपेयर करने पड़ेंगे अगर आपको बाकी 300 के क्लोज पहुंचना है तो. सो एक तो न्यू डायमेंशंस जो है दैट इज गोइंग टू बी ए वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट लेट्स से important area that you should cover. Moving to the third thing, crisp and to the point notes of the important themes. Now what is this important themes? Important themes का मतलब सीधा मतलब ये है कि जो questions बार बार repeat हो रहे हैं उनके ऊपर आपके पास उन important themes के ऊपर आपके पास एक crisp और to the point notes जो है या material होना चाहिए. अब जब मैं कहूँ कि crisp and to the point, it means कि at the end time, whatever the content is required, such as historiography is required, certain facts and figures are required, ठीक है, तो आपके पास वो सारी चीज़ें होनी चाहिए. और जो चीज़ें आपको लगता है कि दूसरों को भी पता है, ठीक है, मेडिवल से मान लीजिए अलाउद्दीन खिलजी के मार्केट पॉलिसी के ऊपर कोई क्वेश्चन आ रहा है, अब ये सबको पता होगा, तो वहाँ पे आपकी ये ड्यूटी बनती है कि हाउ कम यू आर गोइंग टू मेक योर आंसर्स बिट स्पेशलाइज्ड और बिट यूनिक, बिट डिफरेंट फ्रॉम from the others that you can get at least 1.5 marks more than your competitors. That's very important, and this is the reason because of what that's a very important thing. Okay, fine. Apart from that, important in the contemporary historiography, right? Now this is a new dimension, and this new dimension has become very important, and the way you know that in the recent times their expectation as far as the historians are concerned, they are changing. Now they are not expecting the same old sort of historiography, and there is a problem with that old sort of historiography, and that's the reason because of what now UPSC or the evaluators are expecting some sort of different information on historiography from your side, and if you are not able to produce them, in that case of course it's going to be tough for you to get 300 or marks close to 300. Okay. Then there is another thing which is very important, that's about the inclusion of maps and diagrams, right? I mean, day by day, year by year, the importance of the maps and diagrams are increasing. Now why is the importance of this is increasing? Because look, ultimately this is the most beautiful way of presenting your content. Here you are not getting this much time that you are writing the answers in a very comprehensive manner, and then you do have this much luxury of space and time that you can write everything in detail. Look, you have limited content, you have limited time, you have limited space, and within that particular thing those things you have to write every dimension of the aspect of it, and that could be conveyed through better maps and diagrams. But then question is this, in the examination hall you cannot क्रिएट दीज काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स, ठीक है? वहाँ पे अगर आप सोचेंगे कि रैंडमली ऐसे आइडियाज आपके दिमाग में फ्लो कर जाएगा, इट्स नॉट गोइंग टू बी दैट इजी. अगर आपके दिमाग पे प्री फीड इन्फॉर्मेशन है कि अच्छा ठीक है, अगर इसके ऊपर एक क्वेश्चन आ रहा है तो अगर मैं ऐसे एक मैप बना दूंगा या फिर ऐसा एक डायग्राम बना दूंगा, अगर वो प्री फीड इन्फॉर्मेशन आपके दिमाग में है या प्री फीड आइडियाज आपके दिमाग में है, तो उस केस में आपके लिए चीज़ें बहुत आसान हो जाती है. सो दैट्स ऑल्सो वन वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग विच इज़ देयर. And then of course the chronology, previous year papers and the mock test. These are the various expectation or the requirements that you are having at this point of time. So by keeping in mind all these kind of things, I have designed my advanced course in such a way that it is going to cater all these requirements without any problem. So it is going to definitely help you out in order to excel in history optional. So how to fill this gap? Let's come to this next thing. So basically to fill the gap we have to think of couple of things. Okay, fine. First of all, as I told you that I have designed everything in this particular course by keeping in mind your requirements. So we are going to do everything which is catering your all requirements. Okay. So now what are the things that we are going to do? Okay, fine. The first thing is comprehensive understanding. At least as far as this comprehensive understanding is concerned, that's very important in paper 1. Why am I saying so? There is a very simple reason behind this. In paper 1, specifically in ancient India, they have been asking such questions which are not very traditional kind of questions. Rather, every year they had been inventing new questions and they have been asking you. So if you do not have that conceptual understanding, in that case you won't be able to write a proper answer. क्योंकि वहाँ पे अगर आपको चीज़ें सोचनी पड़ जाए बहुत, तो आपके लिए थोड़ी दिक्कत होगी. तो अगर आपके concepts बहुत clear है, ठीक है, तो आप concepts बहुत clear है, that's one thing. And apart from that, if you have that ability of critical thinking and analysis, in that case you'll be able to write a better answer. So at least for paper 1 you need to focus on this, and that's why this is going to be a core area of our course. Okay, then of course the focus syllabus. Now there should be a sort of better understanding of the syllabus, and you have to identify those areas from where you can expect the questions. जो क्वेश्चंस आज से कुछ साल पहले तक आ रहे थे, धीरे धीरे उनकी रेलेवेंस थोड़ी कम हो रही है, और यही वजह है कि आपको उन रेलेवेंस के हिसाब से अपने सिलेबस को समझना पड़ेगा, और जो चीज़ें धीरे धीरे अपडेट हो रही हैं, ठीक है, उन कंटेंट को आपको अपडेट भी करना पड़ेगा. तो अगर ये सारी चीज़ें आप नहीं करते हैं, तो इन दैट केस ऑफ कोर्स यू कैन नॉट एक्सपेक्ट ऑफ दिस गेटिंग दिस मेनी मार्क्स. ओके, then it comes to compulsory answer writing practice. Of course answer writing is a very key area, and you should practice this much that there in the examination hall the ideas are naturally flowing in your mind. ये हाँ ठीक है, अगर एक ऐसा क्वेश्चन आए तो इसको इस तरीके से फ्रेम करेंगे, ये सारे कंटेंट इसकी बेसिक रिक्वायरमेंट होगी, और वो कंटेंट आप उस पर डाल रहे हैं, ठीक है. There is another thing, that's about the predefined introduction and conclusion. Now introduction is always a complicated area. Do you know why? Because introduction and conclusion both, when you get into the examination hall, you always stuck in the first line. जो इंट्रोडक्शन होता है वो आप हमेशा चाहते हैं कि इतने खूबसूरत तरीके से लिखें ताकि आपको बेहतर मार्क्स मिले, राइट। बट वहाँ पे जब आप सोचने के लिए जाते हैं, दैट कंज्यूम्स टाइम, and that's why you need to save your time, and that's how there should be some pre-planned introduction and conclusions as per the theme that can help you in help you in writing a better answer. And then it comes to time management. Of course, that's very important. So if you have been mixing all these things, in that case definitely you are going to save some time. Okay. Then it comes to another thing that's called as crisp study material. I have already told you that at the end you need only couple of pages from where you can get those ideas or you can revise the content that can be produced in the answer script. When you have been doing the foundation, let's say if you have been preparing the optional by your own also, तब आप बहुत एक्सटेंसिवली जो है रीडिंग्स करते हैं, बट उतने एक्सटेंसिव रीडिंग्स में से अल्टीमेटली क्या प्रोड्यूस करना है वो थोड़ा कम होता है, थोड़ा कि नहीं काफ़ी कम होता है. तो वो जो एक क्रिस्प स्टडी मटेरियल, दैट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग, वन दैट यू शुड हैव, and that is being provided the solution of this is being provided through this one page one theme. Now what is this one page one theme? That's one of the core part of this particular program. We are going to cover roughly around 150 plus topics. वैसे टॉपिक्स या तो जो नए डायमेंशंस हैं या फिर वैसे टॉपिक्स जो हैं तो पुराने रिपीटेड थीम्स हैं लेकिन उनके ऊपर जो है आपके पास शायद कुछ स्पेशलाइज्ड कंटेंट नहीं है, तो इन दोनों को हमने इंक्लूड किया है और उनके ऊपर बेसिकली एक बहुत प्रिसाइज जो है कंटेंट दिया है. दैट्स कॉल्ड एज वन पेज वन थीम. मतलब एज आई वाज promising you that we will be covering more than 150 topics, and on every topic there will be just one page you'll be getting, and in that particular page you'll find all the relevant information such as what is the core content of this answer, what kind of diagram can be made, diagram, map, chart, whatsoever it is that could be made, what is the historiography, and what are the keywords of this particular theme that you need to definitely write in your answer. That is going to be included, right? Of course we are going to provide you the help with respect to provide you help with the online and offline classes also, and the classes are in a very mixed format. Mixed format means 3 or 4 classes will be taken in the classroom, and there were 2 or 3 classes will be from will be in a webinar format, right? So maybe slightly in the late night we'll be having these classes, and we will be revising our content, and then of course we'll be, let's say adding or we'll be doing this value addition. That's what we are going to do in this particular series. Okay, fine. Now why am I keeping it, why am I keeping those classes? Because interactive learning, it's very important. Once we are going to discuss the things in a shorter group, in that case there will be value enrichment, there will be value addition, and in fact that is, if you are able to produce that content in your answer, that's definitely going to give you an edge. Of course regular revision is very much part of it. Okay, now this is another important key area of this particular program, that is the historiographical approaches. Now I have seen that most of you are still stuck with that older historiography where you had been talking about that imperial historiography, then it comes to national historiography, then Marxist, and then subaltern. Your ideas are getting stuck over there only. But then in last 3 decades there is a sort of substantial increase or development in this particular line. Now the way we see the oral historiography, and then the annals historiography, then most importantly the revisionist school. So there are so many new schools which are there, and in fact the way the postmodernist input is there in history writing, that has started presenting the history in a very different way. And unfortunately there is nothing as such included in your answer with this postmodernist approach, which is very important. And in fact this postmodernist approach would be helping you not only to imagine or let's say guess the kind of questions which can be asked in UPSC, at the same time the inclusion of these kind of historiography can enrich the quality of your answer, and that's how we are going to include these kind of things. And at the end I'll say comparative analysis, that's very important, because if you develop this particular technique of doing this comparative analysis, in that case your answers again would be highly specialized, because it would be very different from the others answer, and that's how I have just included that as well. Okay. Now if I'll go for the format, in that case there will be structured schedule, 15 classes per paper. So in every week we are going to have minimum 5, maximum 7 classes, and that's up 15 classes for per paper we are going to have. And as I have already told you that certain classes will be taken in the classroom and certain classes will take place through the webinar format or through this Google Meet or Zoom, right? Okay. Then of course peer interaction that I have already discussed. Okay. In fact, these kind of things are even going to help you in general studies and essay paper also, and we will be providing you certain help even in these areas, general studies and the essay writing also. So this is how we are going to conduct this advanced course, and I'm quite hopeful that we'll be getting basically we'll be getting proper, let's say, result of this advanced course. Apart from that, there are certain other things what we are going to definitely do, the personalized feedback. Now here how we are going to do it, that is also very important. There is a very different format of class. There will be a class of 1.5 hours, and that will be followed by a simple and a very small test of 2 questions or max to max 3 questions. And after the test, we will be having a discussion over it. The questions would be taken from the same themes what had been covered in the class, and then there will be a sort of personalized the personalized discussion and feedback. Okay. So I would like to show you some notes, the kind of notes are what I am going to provide you in this particular session, right, or in this particular program. So let's say this is one notes that I have prepared on ancient India, and just one page is covering all the important dimensions, such as what is the core content or the features of this, okay, what is the historiography, and that has been given in such a manner that some pictorial memory can also work for you कि अच्छा ये सारे historians थे जो वहाँ पे दिए हुए थे, किस स्कूल से है, कौन कौन स्कॉलर्स उसमें आते हैं, ठीक है, जहाँ ज़रूरत है वहाँ पे हम इसको इंक्लूड करेंगे. It's not necessary that in every topic we have been including, because when it comes to world history there is no this much need of it, right? So of course this is the suppose if it is the question from the ancient, right, or a topic from ancient, in that case what are the sources that must be used by us, what sort of diagram that we can make in the answer. Everything has been given here. This is one note from the medieval India. Again, everything, whatsoever things are required, this will be there. So they are there in point format, the map, diagram, and everything is being presented in this way. This is one from the modern history. This kind of diagrams have been included, historiography is included here. This is the historiography, these are the features. So just one page and that would be sufficient for you. That's how we have prepared the material for the world history also, and we have desperately kept this kind of images, or let's say maps that can help you to go for some sort of pictorial memory, right? So अगर आप ये सब चीज़ें देखते हैं या इसको रिवाइज करके जाते हैं तो मेरे हिसाब से आपके लिए आंसर प्रोड्यूस करना is going to be very easy for you. So this is how we have designed it, and we'll just try to produce all those promises what we have been making here. And I believe that if you are able to do all these kind of things, in that case it won't be very tough to reach as closer to closer to 300. So I hope it is going to be quite helpful for you, right? Thank you very much.